All right, so back in 1991, the founder of a brand new spiritual movement gets up and gives this speech, basically declaring the start of a whole new era. He laid out this massive plan, supposedly a decade in the making, with a mission to literally reshape the world. And today, that's what we're diving into. We're going to break down that single, incredibly powerful declaration. So, right out of the gate, the speech doesn't ease you in. Nope, it just drops this bombshell. At last, the year of miracles has begun. I mean, talk about a bold opening line. The speaker is immediately setting this tone of destiny, of urgency, framing the entire year as something, almost supernatural. So yeah, this whole speech is really positioned as the start of a massive journey. The speaker claims he's been waiting 10 whole years for this exact moment, getting these divine revelations that were finally ready to be put into action. So this wasn't just some plan, it was presented as a prophecy finally coming true. And here's the absolute core of it. The year 1991 is officially marked as the starting line, the beginning of a march towards a perfect world, a utopia promised by God himself. It's essentially a massive wake-up call for what the speaker calls humanity's original mission. But, to need a miracle, you first need a crisis, right? So the speech then starts to paint this really bleak picture of a world just teetering on the brink of disaster, really setting the stage for a dramatic rescue. And this diagnosis of the crisis, it gets very specific. The speaker points to Japan, with its 120 million godless people, just adrift. He talks about a youth with no direction, a materialistic civilization that's just about to crumble. And he warns that these prophecies of disaster, they're not a joke. He says they're set to unfold within the next 10 years. So, faced with this global crisis, what's the solution? Well, this is the origin story we get. The speaker claims that God literally wept seeing the state of the world, and those divine tears, when the sunlight hit them, they transformed into the movement known as happy science. It's a really powerful, poetic image that frames the whole organization as a direct response to God's own sorrow. Okay, so if the problem is a world in total chaos, the solution, naturally, is presented as a divine revelation. This new truth, as the speaker calls it, brings with it a whole new way of understanding our place in the universe. And get this, the speaker presents happy science not as just another religion, but as the final, all-encompassing truth. The claim is huge, that it basically integrates and then moves beyond Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all the other major faiths, to offer something totally new for the modern age. At its very heart, the message is really all about rediscovery. The speech argues that we, as humans, are fundamentally divine. We're children of God, actual beings of light. The problem, he says, is that in our materialistic world, we've just forgotten this essential truth about who we really are. And how do you remember this truth? Well, the path is through absolute, total faith. The speaker describes belief as this force so powerful it can literally break down the wall between our physical world and the spiritual realms, allowing a person to become one with God. It's framed as the ultimate connection, like a child coming home to their parent. Okay, so a global mission of this scale, it's going to need a headquarters, right? And according to this speech, that headquarters has been very, very specifically chosen, which creates this powerful national calling. And the speaker makes a really fascinating point here. He claims that God actually considered the world's biggest nations, China, India, the US, the USSR, but passed them all over. Instead, a very deliberate choice was made. And that choice? It was Japan. The speech declares that while all the old revelations happen in ancient, distant deserts, the new divine message is coming down right now in modern Tokyo. He even calls it the modern Jerusalem. I mean, that positions Japan at the absolute center of this new spiritual age. And you have to understand, this isn't just about religion. It's a call for a total national rebirth. The speaker actually frames this moment as a second founding of Japan. The nation's new mission? To shed its old identity and reemerge as the spiritual and political leader of the entire world, responsible for guiding all of humanity. All right, so we've got the problem, we've got the solution, and we've got the location all locked in. The speech then pivots to maybe the most important part, the plan. What are the followers actually supposed to do? And this plan is, well, it's ambitious and it is incredibly specific. The speaker lays out this staggering 3-year timeline for just exponential growth, calling on his followers to create millions of what he calls producers of happiness. And let's just pause and focus on that first number for a second. The immediate goal for that very year, 1991, was to build a base of 1 million dedicated members. Now, this wasn't some vague hope or a nice idea. It was presented as a concrete, urgent target for the year of miracles. This speech gives every single person listening a profound new identity. They're told they aren't just followers. No, they are the chosen people. They are leaders for all 5.3 billion people on Earth. And the most powerful metaphor he uses is that of a lighthouse, a being whose sole purpose is to shine a light and guide all the other lost ships through a dark and chaotic sea. So, what's the core motivation behind this incredibly urgent mission? Well, it's framed as the ultimate act of love. According to the speaker, waking other people up to this divine truth isn't just a duty. It is the single greatest form of love you can possibly show another human being. So, when you look at the whole thing, this speech from 1991 didn't just offer a spiritual philosophy. It laid out a detailed strategic plan for global transformation. And it leaves us with this central question. When a spiritual calling becomes a detailed plan with targets and deadlines, what does that tell us about the ambition to turn that vision into reality?